Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Jeremiah. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And honors to the brothers and sisters pushing this word in truth and sincerity, and the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Today's lesson is going to be over the benefit of a Hebrew man or a Hebrew husband. The benefit of a Hebrew husband, we know that the Christian church, they push to our women that the only thing they need is Christ, and that's their husband. Christ is their husband. So why do I need a man, right? So the sickness and the mental illness that our people have, we know statistically that our women, especially black African-American, so-called black African-American women, they suffer from an illness, these curses. These curses hit them really hard when it comes to the family structure, because they think that they don't need a man. They don't see the benefit of having a man or a husband. So we want to get first where this mindset came from. Where did this mindset come from? And we know the prophet Jeremiah spoke about this. So let's get first scripture, Jeremiah 31 and 22. Jeremiah 31 and 22. It reads, "How long wilt thou go about, O backsliding daughter?" So backsliding is someone that's sliding away, that's going backwards from the Most High God and His laws. So we were backsliding away from the Most High God. So that was the question. How long wilt thou go? It says, "How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord has created a new thing on the earth." So because we have sinned, because we've stopped following the commandments, the Most High God created a new thing on the earth. And what was that new thing? A woman shall compass a man. Okay, so a woman shall compass a man, because that was never designed. The woman was designed for the man. Okay, not the man for the woman, but the woman was designed for her husband. She was designed to marry. Okay, that's what she was created for. So the new thing on the earth was a woman shall compass a man. Okay, and the reason why that happened, like again I said, is because of the curses. So let's get some of those curses in the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15 reads, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all His commandments and His statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So if we don't do what the Most High God commanded for us to do, these curses was going to overtake us. Was going to overtake us. So let's find out what that curse is. Deuteronomy 28 and 56. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 56. It says, "The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground, for delicacy and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter." So her eye would be evil towards her husband, her son, and her daughter. So she would start to hate. If you don't hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, the woman, it's prophesied that the woman, she would start to hate her husband. She would start to hate her daughter. She would start to hate her son. So we see these curses very heavily in the black community, where the man leaves the household either because of the woman is overpowering or very aggressive, and she's become masculine, right? She wears the pants in the family, literally, right? So these curses have come upon us and overtaken us, right? So when a woman wears pants, her spirit becomes different than when she wears a dress. When she wears a dress, she feels more ladylike, more feminine, right? But when she wears pants, she feels more masculine. She don't even know it, But if you think about it, ladies, you do. You know, I've had many women tell me that was true. Okay, so yeah, so if we didn't hearken unto these commandments, these curses came upon us. Okay, let's get a little bit more of that on the book of Ezekiel. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 16 and verse 44. Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 44 reads, Behold, every one that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee. So this proverb will be used against us. Now see if this sounds familiar. Saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. So we have that proverb in the black community, right? If you want to see what she's like, if you want to see how she's going to be, look at her mother, right? So this is a proverb used in the black community, right? In the ghettos, okay? Verse 45. Thou art thy mother's daughter that loathe her husband and her children. A loathe is something that's strongly hated. You strongly dislike. You strongly hate. It's not just a normal hate. You strongly hate it. So she loathed her husband and her children, right? We see it all the time where women kick their children out of the house. I've seen it all the time, okay? It says, and thou art the sister of thy sisters. So she's going to hate her sisters, which loathe their husbands and their children. Your mothers was an Haiti and a Hittite, Salakia, was an Hittite, and her father was an Ammonite. So we see that there's going to be name calling. There's going to be prophet. There's going to be proverbs said about us, and the woman would hate her children. She would hate her husband. She would hate her sisters. Now, is this curse hitting us? Yes, it's hitting us, and it's something that we need to, which we've been fighting, but we haven't known. We didn't know where it came from. Now we know where it come from. It came from us not following the commandments of God, and we got to come back to the commandments of God and teach each other how to love, because we don't know how to love properly. We got to teach each other how to be more brotherly, how to be more sisterly, right? Because we don't know how to. We don't know how to love our children. We have women that have children. They hate their children. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. No other nation does that. No other nation does that. So we have curses that we got to get off of us, right? And we got to pray for these curses to be uplifted off of us, those that keep the commandment. Okay? So let's go a little bit more. Let's get Isaiah 3 and 2. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12 reads, As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. So as for my people, children are their oppressors. So we know we have a lot of children that are in gangs today. We got a lot of children that are in gangs. So, and they oppress us, right? They do the most dumbest things, and they oppress us as a nation of people. And it says, and women rule over them. So our women are teaching their children how to be more. That's why you have so many feminine males today. That's because the father has left the house because of the mother, and the mother is now raising the children, or the sons, and she don't know how. So she's raising them how to be a woman with her emotions, being very emotional, right? It says, O my people, thou which lead thee, cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path. So it says, O my people, that which lead thee. Who's leading us right now? Who's leading us in this? According to the scripture, it says the women rule over them. The women rule over. So if the women are ruling over, they are leading the people. And let's see what it says again about the people that are ruling over us. The women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee, cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path. Right? The Most High God's men, the Most High God's pastors are men. Let's get that. Let's get that. Trying to stay on topic, trying to stay on course. Let's get that in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 34 and verse 31. Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 31 reads, and ye, my flock, and saying, and you, my flock, the flock of my pasture are men. So the flock of the Most High God's pasture are men. The Most High God created Adam first, and then he created Eve for Adam, right? But he created man for him to worship him, right? It says, and ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your God, saith the Lord God. So the Most High God created men to be his flock, right? To rule in order. In order, we know that the order is, let's get it, 1 Corinthians. Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man and the head is Christ. The head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. So we got God, we got Christ, and we got man. And at the bottom we have women. But the order is all out of whack. The order is all out of whack. And we saw in the book of Isaiah chapter 3 that the women rule over us. Like it spoke on in Jeremiah chapter 31 that that the Most High God created a new thing on the earth. That the women will rule. Women are over the men. Right? That's a new thing on the earth. That the women are over the men. So the women have got to get back in order. The men got to get back in order too. They got to put their houses back in order. Right? And we know it all comes from getting back to the law, statutes, and commandments of God. So we got to know what the laws are, right? So we got to break these curses, okay? So finding out a little bit more, I went over it. Let's go over this again just a little bit. Why were women created? Why were they created? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 18. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone, should be alone. So the Most High God saw man, he created man, and he saw him working, and he thought it's not good for man to be alone, right? He said, I will make him a helpmeet for him. Okay? So the Most High God, why did he create Eve? To be a helpmeet for Adam. For Adam. She was created for the man. It's not man created for the woman, right? So we got to understand where this psychological problem comes from, right? It comes from us breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of God, okay? So let's get a little bit more on that. 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 14 reads, I will therefore, that ye young women marry. So the Most High God commanded us, our women, to marry. That's what the Most High God commanded women to do, was to marry and to be fruitful and multiply. It says, I will therefore that the young women marry, bear children, guard their house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachful. So it's not so reproach wouldn't come onto our women, so shame wouldn't come to our women, so that they can't put these proverbs and these bywords on our homes, right? Are these jokes, horrible jokes? Like the joke is, what can a couch do that a man can't do? Is support a family of four, right? I've heard that. That's a horrible joke that's placed on our people. So we got to get this reproach, this shame off of us. And how do we get the shame off of us? By knowing where this stuff comes from, by not falling in the same trap again. Okay? Let's get a little bit more on that. Let's go back to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6. And we'll start at verse 1. It says, now these are the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which the Lord thy God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it. So wherever we go, and wherever we go to possess it, wherever we are, we're to do these commandments. It says, that thou mayest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy sons, and thy sons' sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. So us to keep these commandments, our days will prolong on this earth, and we're seeing that happen today. That our men, our daughters, we're getting killed off at a young age, getting shot, vaccines, these horrible foods, because we're not keeping these commandments. So we're getting killed off. It says, "Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, and it may be well with thee, that ye may increase mightily." So if we do, we're going to increase mightily, right? And there's nothing more powerful than a righteous Hebrew man having 20 or 30 children. That's right. That's powerful. That's mighty, and that's a threat to this government, right? It says to this kingdom. So as the Lord thy God, thy fathers hath promised thee, and the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God. So this is a commandment. These are commandments. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. So everything you got, you should be loving the Most High God. Every way, in every way, right? Every your dress, your speech, the way you talk, everything should be geared towards your mindset should be towards the Most High God first. First, it should be given to the Most High God first. Okay? And we got to understand that the Most High God exists, and that he is one, right? That the Most High God is one God, right? Verse 6, "And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart." So these commandments, these words, all of this, loving the Lord thy God with all thy heart, all thy mind, and all thy soul, it should be in our heart, right? When you wake up in the day, you give praise and thanks to the Most High God, and you read, you spend time with him, not nothing else. Not nothing else, not your son, not your daughter, not your wives, not your father, not your mom, not your grandma, grandpa. It's supposed to be spent with him. It's supposed to be spent with him. Okay? So let's get a little bit more. Let's go to the book of 2 Maccabees. Book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 27. Maccabees, 2 Maccabees, chapter 7 and verse 27. It says, "But she boweth herself towards him, laughing, and the cruel tyrant to scorn spake in her country's language on this manner, O my son." So this is a woman talking to her son. He says, "O my son, have pity upon me, that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and give thee such 3 years, and nourish thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endureth the trouble, and endureth the troubles of education." So our mothers, our women, are supposed to endure the troubles of education. And we know our women are very educated, right? We know as men, this system is geared to keeping us down, putting us in prison homes, as prison houses, as much as possible, as much as they can with any little thing. So it's this world is geared to shutting men down. So our women are very educated, and they should be teaching our sons and our daughters to educate. They should educate our children, because they're very educated. She said, I brought thee up unto this age. So she's like, I brought you up, I nourished you, I brought you up to this age. She said, and endured the troubles of education. So she went through the education. She went through the hard process of getting educated, and now she's going to teach her son. That's a loving, kind mother. That's a loving mother, to teach her children what she knows. And that's what our women are supposed to do. Okay? Proverbs, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 1. Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 1. The word of King Laman, or Lemel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. So the mother taught King Lemel this prophecy, right? So our mothers are supposed to be teaching our children, our sons and our daughters. She has a job. She's got to teach, right? She's got to guard, right? She's got a big job to do. So what should our women be doing when it comes to a Hebrew man? What should our women be doing when it comes to a Hebrew man? Let's find out. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 6. The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 36. The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 36. And she's got to keep this in mind. Okay, if she wants a powerful family, which this is something that you should be focused on, this is what you need to be focused on. This is what you got to keep in mind. Sirach chapter 6 and verse 36. And if thou seest a man of understanding. So if you see a man of understanding, get thee bedtime unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. And let thy foot wear the step of his doors. The steps of his door. So when a woman sees a man of understanding, she should be continuously at his finding what he knows, asking him questions, like trying to get more understanding so she can give to her children, right? So she can teach her children, because she's got a job to do. So this is the things that she should be doing. And so when she sees a man, this is the benefit of a Hebrew man. The benefit of a Hebrew man is that he's going to have understanding of these scriptures and how to lead his house, how to make sure his house stays in order and maintain his order in his home, making sure that he gets up and gives all praises and glory to the Most High God first, right? Give his daily Shema, right, in the morning and in the evening, right? When he wakes up and before he goes to bed. This should be taught to our children. Okay. Let's get a little bit more on what our women should be doing. So we found out that our women should be wearing the doorsteps of a man of understanding. She should be wearing it out. She should be always there, right? He should be like, I know who's going to be here. I know who's going to be here at 12 this noon, or 11 o'clock this morning, or 10 o'clock this morning. I know who's going to be here. You know, she's going to be showing up, asking questions, right? And a man of understanding loves that, right? Righteous man loves that, because it keeps him more sharp. It keeps him focused, right? And constantly in the word. So this is the book of Sirach, chapter 37. The book of Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 12. Sirach, chapter 37 and verse 12. It reads, but be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. So she should be continuously with a godly man. Continuously, consistently with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. A godly man is going to study the law, statutes, and commandments. He's going to know how to keep the commandments, right? So she should be continuously with a godly man. It says, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind. So his mind is according to the Most High God's mind, right? It says, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. So whenever a woman has a problem, or when she's sorrowful, that godly man is going to be sorrowful with her. Okay, because he's going to know what the scriptures talk about. He's going to know that, you know, that he should be there for his people, right? He should be caring for his people, right? So he's going to be there with her. Okay, So he's going to constantly be in the scriptures. He's going to constantly know what the Most High God likes and don't like. Okay, so this is a characteristic of a Hebrew man, and what our women should know and what she should keep in mind. This is a benefit of knowing a Hebrew man, or knowing, getting out of the mindset of Christ is my husband, right? Because Christ set up the men, right? Christ does what the Father tells him to, and you can't eliminate the men, the divine order. So now it's the Most High God, Christ, and women. Nah, you can't eliminate the men. The men were set up, and we see that the Hebrew men, are being waken up again in these last days in this country, right, and all around the world. Slakia, all around the world. So we got to know to keep the divine order, right? The Most High God set that order. You women can't go straight to Christ like that, right? Not like that. That's why he brought men there, righteous men. Okay, the book. Let's go. Stay in the book of Sirach. Let's go to book of Sirach, chapter 3, and verse 9. Sirach, chapter 3, and verse 9 reads, For the blessing of the father establishes the house of the children. For the blessing of the father establishes the house of the children. Right? So when you have a godly man or a righteous man, the Most High God is going to bless that man. He's going to bless that man. And when the Most High God blesses that man, it says he will establish the houses of children. So just the man's words will bless those children. Just the man's presence will bless those children. Okay? Because your children's going to be blessed. They're going to know how to operate and to act. Okay? So we got to, the Hebrew man, the righteous man must stay. The righteous man must be in these homes. Right? It's very important that you keep these home structures strong. Right? If you're not working to keep these homes strong and with all that you got, you're going off. You're going off, right? So let's get down to the actual even more benefits of having the Hebrew man in the house. We found out that the Lord's pastures, the Lord's pastures and his flocks were men, right? But we're going to find a little bit more about these Hebrew and these righteous men. This the book of First Ezra chapter 3 and verse 18. First Ezra chapter 3 and verse 18 reads, And he saith, thus, O ye men. So he's talking to the men who exceeding strong wine, to cause all men to err that drink it. So men that drink strong wine and get drunk, it causes them to err. It says, verse 19, it maketh the mind of the king and of the fatherless children to be all one, of the bondman and of the free man, of the poor man and of the rich. So it causes everyone to fall and to stumble. If you can't control your drink, if you can't control your alcohol, men, it's like you were fatherless. It's like your mind, you didn't even have a father. It's like you had no instruction, because the father is to give instruction to the children. So when a man drinks and he's drunk, it's like a man, the scripture says it's like a man that didn't have a father, right? He don't have no common sense. He don't have no understanding. He's a man without understanding, because he's got no understanding. If you allow yourself to be drunk like that, kings, free men, bondmen, it don't matter. You're like a man that had no father. That's what the scriptures say. So this is how important a righteous man is in the home, right? Because the children's going to have the understanding that they need. Okay, let's go to the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2 and verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 2 and verse 1 says, Now in the days of David drew nigh, that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, saying, so King David was about to die. He was drawing nigh unto his death. And he commanded, it says he charged, so he commanded David, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. So he's telling David, or his King David's telling his son Solomon to go himself and be strong and be a man. Then how do you be a man? He's telling him this is how you be a man. Go and show all the earth you're a man. And this is how you do it. Verse 3. And keep the charge of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, So King David is telling his son Solomon on his deathbed. So you can't get no serious than this. He's telling his son that's going to rule to how to be a man. And this is what you have to do to be a man. To keep the laws, statutes, and judgments of the Lord thy God, and of the laws and the testimony that Moses gave, right? So how do we become men? Now, just imagine if King David or King Solomon didn't have a father. He wouldn't have known this, right? Would he have even been written in the Bible if King Solomon didn't have a father to tell him this, right? So the importance of a Hebrew man is to teach the children, right? It's to teach the mother, okay? It says that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whithersoever thou turnest thyself. So wherever you go, you're gonna prosper if you keep these commandments. Okay. So let's go back to the book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 15. The book of Sirach, chapter 1 and verse 15 reads, She have built an everlasting foundation with men, and she shall continue with their seeds, with their seed. So the seed that it's talking about here is wisdom. So the Most High God created wisdom, right? Created wisdom for righteous men. And it says that the wisdom, it says she will build an everlasting foundation with men, right? Because the order, the Most High God never changes. That order never changed. God, Christ, Father, man, and women. Okay? So she built an everlasting foundation. Wisdom built an everlasting foundation with men, and she will continue with their seed. Who holds the seed? Men. Okay? Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. I need to bring this out. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 7 through 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, 7 through 9. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image of and glory of God. So a man ought not to cover his head. Paul is telling the Corinthians. It says, why? For as much as he is the image, he is the image and the glory. So who is the image and the glory of God, according to this verse? The man. The man is the image and the glory. Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you kick that out your house? Okay? Why would you kick a righteous man out your house? Why would you do that? Right? Why wouldn't you try everything in your power to keep a righteous man in your home? Right? Isn't that logical? Isn't that wisdom? Right? So it says, but the woman. So the woman is the glory of the man. Right? The woman is the glory of the man. It says, neither was man created for women, but women for the man. So the man wasn't created for women. We weren't created for her. Right? We was the glory and the image of God. We are the glory and the image of God. But women was created for man. Okay? Let's go back to the book of Sirach. Make sure I didn't bring this verse out already. Book of Sirach, chapter 36. Book of Sirach, chapter 36, verse 25. Sirach chapter 36 and verse 25 reads, where no hedge is, and we know that the hedge, the Most High God deals with men, and he gives righteous men the hedge of protection. The Most High God gives righteous men the hedge of protection. It says, where there is no hedge, there the possession is spoiled. And what's man's possession? His wife and his children, right? Where there's no hedge, so we broke God's laws. Men left the homes. According to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, men would leave because they didn't keep the laws of God. So it left no hedge of protection for his possession. His possession was his wife and his children. It left no possession for them. It left no hedge for them. And it spoiled his possession. Right? It says, let me read it over. There, where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. You need a wife. You need a wife. It's important that you have a wife. Men that don't need one, that don't mourn, that don't like, man, I need a woman, I need a wife. Hey, the Most High God's dealing with you. He's dealing with you in a special way. But there's a lot of men that do need wives, right? Because he said that it's not good for men to be alone, right? So the Most High God created women for that reason, so that he wouldn't be alone, okay? But where there's no hedge, which we know a hedge is given to a righteous man, his possession is spoiled, okay? So if you ain't got no Hebrew man, you're spoiled. You ain't going to have no good understanding, okay? Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's stay in the book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. Sirach 29 and 21 reads, the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and a house to cover shame. So the chief thing for a man to provide for his wife is water, bread, clothing, and a house, right? That's something that he has to provide. Okay, so man, you have a job to do. You have a job to do too, right? You have a job to do too. And this is spiritual as well, right? Because a righteous man will bring that spiritual water. A righteous man will bring that spiritual understanding and that spiritual bread, right? That spiritual protection, that house to cover the shame, right? He's going to bring that hedge because he's going to be continuously praying to the Most High God. Okay? Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2. I got a few more scriptures. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 11. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, he shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign. Oh, Salakia. I'm at 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11 reads, let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. So the woman should be in all subjection. All means all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. So it's written that the woman should not be teaching her man. She should not usurp authority over her man. It says, but to be in silence. Verse 13. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. 14. And Adam was not deceived. So Adam wasn't deceived. So if you get a righteous man, it's more than likely that he won't fall off as easy as a woman would, right? So, because we continuously to fall in these things. We fall, if the woman fell, and she ain't got no hedge of protection, it's more than likely she's going to fall again. It's more than likely that you're going to keep repeating the same steps until you follow the orders of God, not your own orders, not after your own heart, but the orders of the Lord. It says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. So the woman was deceived. She was in transgression. It says, notwithstanding, she will be saved in childbearing. Because the Most High God said you should be fruitful and multiply, to bring more righteous men and women into this earth, right? To bring more to bring more Israelites into this world. That's how she's going to be saved. It says, if thou continue in faith, in charity, and holiness, with sobriety. So, if she continues in faith, if she continues in charity, giving, right, hospitality, if she does these things, if she's holiness, being sober-minded, if she does this, she's got to continue. She's got to endure to the end on this, right? You can't get away from it. Okay. I got a few more scriptures. Let's get Salakia. Let's get the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 13 reads, Now therefore set thy house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So us men, we have to set our houses in order. Okay, we got to know how to set our houses in order. So this is something that us men, we have to do, right? It says that we have to set our houses in order and reprove thy people. So once we set our houses in order, now we can reprove our people. Now we can correct them, because we won't be looked at as hypocrites, right? We won't be looked at as hypocrites because our house is in order. It says, comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So now we can renounce corruption, right? Because we are now not corrupted. Okay, it says, verse 14, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burden of men, put off now the weak nature. So we got to put off our weak nature. We got to put off our mortal, our carnal, fleshly ways, being physical, being emotional, being overly aggressive, unnecessarily, right? We got to put these things away. Right, our Hebrew man, your job is to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. This is helping understand a man putting his house in order. It says, let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So King Solomon, or King David, told his son, King Solomon, to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of God. So King Solomon is now teaching in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13, to hear the conclusion of the whole matter. This is all you need to know, you Israelite men, to fear God and to keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, right? Okay. I'm going to end it with this last chapter, this last scripture in the book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse 5. The book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5 says, Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So if we got to continuously keep the commandments, keep these covenants, because the Most High God, he said we are a peculiar treasure to him, right? So we got to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. We got to know how to raise our family, right? A righteous man will know how to put his house in order, will consistently give understanding and knowledge to his wife, right? And a wife would not try to usurp authority over her husband because she know that's not the divine order, right? She shouldn't be pressuring that. She shouldn't be testing that, right? If you're wise, you wouldn't test that. You wouldn't try to test him, right? You got to be smart, right? You want to do everything in your power to keep your man in order, right? Your desire should be to your husband, okay? If your desire is to your husband, then if your desire is to your husband, then you only want the best for your husband. Likewise, you husbands will only want the best for your wives, right? So with that, I'm going to say, Kahala Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, giving all praises and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and honors and double honors to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and never ever forget death to America. Shalom, Barak.